Hello, and welcome to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show podcast with astrologer Shelley Overton.
Hey, and welcome back to the next edition of the AstroEnergy Astrology Show podcast with me, Shelley Overton. It is October 14th, 2022. We are going over the upcoming astrology for the week and what you can expect, what's going on, why is it going on, why are we all here? Just kidding. Anyway, I just spent a good couple days over at Disney at the resorts, and I was very happy to be around all that beautiful energy. Got a lot of fireworks, got a lot of Skyliner, which if you're not familiar, it's the gondolas that go over from the resort to the parks, and had a lot of fun over there with my family. Got back. Now I have a podcast to record, so I apologize if it's a little late, but I've had a little bit of issues physically. I've got a little bit of laryngitis and a sore sciatic nerve, so I'm probably going to keep this podcast short tonight because it is a little bit late and I want to get something up for you. But we're going to go over what I see. I'm not going to get to the horoscopes this week. I will be doing those next week because it's closer to November. So I will be doing more of a November horoscope for you. But we'll talk about what's coming up anyway. And right now I'm looking at the chart and the trines are still there. It's, let me see, I've got Saturn trine, grand trine, I guess just two grand trines this week, Saturn, Venus, Sun, and Moon, Mars. And that is today we have Moon, Mars conjunct. So if you're testy, not surprising, I know I'm a little testy at times right now. We've got Saturn in trine to Mars and Moon. And that means that there is a sense of restriction, but Saturn's getting ready to turn direct next week. I'm going to just give you a heads up, even though we're going to be talking more in depth next week. A week from tomorrow, which at the time of recording, it's Friday, but the 22nd is the day Saturn goes direct, and it happens overnight between time zones, which means it will turn direct first in Pacific at 9:07, and then that's on the 22nd, and on the 23rd, it turns direct at 12:07 a.m. So we've got that coming up. Next week's going to be really big. Just giving you a heads up. Next week has Saturn direct. We've got a solar eclipse on the 25th. We've got Venus entering Scorpio and Sun entering Scorpio. And then a number of different aspects. But getting back to today and this week, we're dealing with this trine between Saturn, Moon, Mars. So that is, trines are cooperative because they are similar energy. It is an air energy, Gemini, and Aquarius. And then what rounds out I always say the wrong thing. It doesn't round it out and it doesn't complete the other corner. I guess it's like a corner. So the triangle is between Saturn, Moon, Mars, and Venus, Sun. So Venus, Sun is the other corner of the triangle, and that's in Libra. So it is an air grand trine. And because there are two entities, Moon and Mars in one corner and Venus, Sun in the other, it creates a number of triangles. So you have a Mars, Sun, Saturn triangle, a Mars, Venus, Saturn triangle, a Moon, Sun, Saturn triangle, and a Moon, Venus, Saturn triangle. So a lot of energy going on, and it is about career. It is about the collective. Saturn in Aquarius connects to the collective energy, collective consciousness. And Saturn is the structure, the restriction, the stability, responsibility. I had a discussion with my mother this week over the difference between blame and responsibility. And she said they were the same thing. I'm like, they are not the same thing. Blame is an ego pathway. It represents you've done something wrong. I'm going to judge you and point a finger. That's the energy I get from blame. Responsibility is, oh, something needs to be done about this. I'm going to take ownership. So it more entails taking ownership or understanding that you can do something about it and you're going to bring it into your energy field and commit to it. That is not the same energy as blame. Blame, again, is a judgment. It is ego. It is culminated in a sense of self-satisfaction. Oh, I'm right and you're wrong, which is always going to be an ego energy. So if you start to really suss out the difference between the two, you can really shift a lot of how you look at your life. And it's something that I've done in the last couple of years, at least, where I recognize, am I judging? If I'm judging and pointing a finger, that's ego. And if I'm taking ownership of something, maybe even altruistically and without a need for kudos, that is responsibility. We are meant to be responsible in our higher Saturn vibration, in the higher Capricorn vibration. And when we are in finger pointing and blame, we're in our ego. What can bring that on is a sense of competition also. So look at a situation and decide, is this a competitive thing, or is this something that I am completely detached from and can allow other people to be who they are? If you're able to let other people be who they are, you're in your higher vibration of Capricorn or Saturn. And if you feel the need to blame and point fingers, you're in your lower ego vibration of Capricorn and Saturn. So definitely take time to notice the difference, because they are two very different things. Having Saturn in Aquarius means that for the last year and a half to 2 years now, we have been really focusing on what it means to be in Aquarian energy. And it's really a gateway to the Pluto in Aquarius energy. So Saturn, again, wants to bring this energy down into the material world, ground it. And Aquarius is an air energy. And not only is it an air energy, but it's the highest vibrating air energy out there. And so it means that we are dealing with high intellectual consciousness, and it goes beyond the human intelligence and the human awareness into the collective awareness, into entities that might be in spirit form. It could be archangels, it could be source energy or God, whatever you believe in. And so it's just much more expansive. Having Saturn there, it's also about really coming to terms with your view of what source is and what higher knowledge and wisdom is. So it's a very strong spiritual energy. Even though it's not a traditionally spiritual energy, I usually assign that to Pisces and to Sagittarius. Aquarius brings us into the non-emotional area of spiritual growth. And so that will be part of what we're dealing with over the next probably 6 months, as long as Saturn is still in Aquarius. It goes into Pisces next year, 2023. So we've got a good 6 months of Saturn, really, I would say 6 months. I can't remember. I think it might actually, I'm not going to commit to it, but I think it's around March, and we're in October. So like 5 months away. So we're going to see this energy really move in, especially as Pluto gets into Aquarius. It is a tremendous time of awakening, of clarity, of knowing what is the truth versus what we are deluding ourselves about, or feeling the need to be right about. And that is the Pluto in Capricorn end degrees of, again, that ego energy, the lower vibration. Now, Pluto has a low and a high vibration as well. Lower vibration Pluto wants to have power over other people through knowledge and wisdom of the mystery, the secrets that they hold. The higher understanding and vibration of Pluto is much more about justice and things that are just in energy. So not liking that there are people who are suffering because someone else has an agenda. So when we see Pluto come into Aquarius, which is also a very strong humanitarian energy, the air signs tend to be more humanitarian and more socially aware of other people's plights. When Pluto comes into that Aquarius energy in March of next year as well, it's going to be an enlightening time about people who have had it more difficult, and what exactly is the value of people who may not have the same experiences in life or even the same opportunities that we've had. Anyone, like, are we comparing ourselves higher and lower to the other people in the world and really bringing in the idea that we are in this together on this planet. And so the Saturn energy really strongly connects to this altruistic or universalist kind of mentality. And then you bring in Moon, and well, today it's a real fleeting thing, but if you are a Moon in Gemini, you're going to feel this really strongly. Or if you have other planets in Gemini, you'll feel the Moon in there. So it makes us really emotional and maybe wanting to connect to our group, our neighbors, our siblings, people who have level what is it, bilateral? Lateral. I'll just use lateral peer group. So it's not higher, lower, or broader. It's much more localized and lateral. So like I said, neighbors, siblings, that kind of thing. So we go into the energy of Mars. Of course, Mars is assertive and aggressive, and Gemini is intellectual and intelligence seeking, conversational, social, in small groups, wanting to be connected, wanting to know the information. Geminis really like to know all the gossip, all the good stuff on everybody else in their environment. So if you're looking to spy or seek out information on other people that you're interested in, or neighbors, college roommates, whatever it may be, this is the energy of that. Mars does go retrograde in about 10 days. And so we're going to see a slowing down of the Mars energy. We already have a bit of a frustration with Mars energy, which is Jupiter in Aries. Retrograde now is this week at 1 degree 22 minutes, about to go into Pisces next week. I believe I said it was the 28th, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Jupiter re-enters Pisces on the 28th. And so from now until then, for 2 weeks, we are going to be seeing Jupiter really digging its heels in, wanting to understand the nature of Aries, the nature of newness and growth and birth, but yet not really being as fortunate as Jupiter normally is. And so it's going to be really frustrating. And then Mars is going further and further towards the end of the Gemini degrees, but right before it hits the end, 5 degrees before it hits the end, in 25 Gemini, he retrogrades. And so he's going to go, psych, tease, and then pull the rug out from under us somehow. And then it will be like, nope, we're going to be reevaluating what we have decided on, where we have put our energy with duality. So this is 2 of something, usually just 2, could be 3 or 4, but it is usually the twins, 2 of something. So we're going to have this situation, the situation, and that situation. And when Mars goes retrograde, that's when we really address the balancing and whether or not we're going to pick one over the other. We're going to be back and forth for a good few months. And when Mars gets finally into Cancer, it will be next year. Mars goes direct in January, like I think the 21st of January. And then it goes into Cancer in March. So we won't really get out of this energy until I think the 3rd week of March is when Mars goes into Cancer. March is going to be a rockin' and rollin' month next year, let me tell you what. So having Mars retrograde in Gemini is going to really give us this time to evaluate if we made the right choice, because Mars direct, we made a decision between 2 things. Mars retrograde means we reevaluate whether or not that's a good decision. And Mars direct is when we make a new decision, and that decision will hold. So is that decision what we chose before, or the other thing that we didn't choose? Because it's Gemini, my guess is we will go from what we did choose over to what we didn't choose. So by the time it goes direct, chances are whatever your choice was will look completely different come January, late January. And let's see. So then the last part of the triangle is Venus Sun, and that energy in Libra. So a lot of us are going to be evaluating where we're heading with a commitment or a marriage partner or a partnership. I've got a situation that's bringing in just like a business type partnership, or not even really that yet, as much as a potential. with some metaphysical stuff that I'm doing, which is really the astrology and maybe a little bit of retail. So it's really exciting to see what that's all about. And this weekend, I'm going to be going to this local kind of metaphysical center and doing some volunteer work with the owner and see how that works out and maybe do some astrology readings. And I'm really looking forward to that. I'll give you an update next week and let you know how it goes. But it is about partnering, and with the sun and Venus, it could be partnering with women. And with that energy trying to Saturn, it's a really great time to potentially dig in and make something solid. But with the Mars going retrograde on one part of that triad, that is the engine of the whole thing. So there will be adjustments for the next few months, and then it will straighten out come the beginning of the year. So if you're looking at where this is affecting you, look to your Gemini house, your Aquarius house, and your Libra house in your chart. If you have an Aries natural rising sign, that is the third house, the seventh house, and the 11th house. You can find that out by finding what your chart looks like and researching it online, or you can even text me. I will look into it for you if you give me your birth information. That is birthplace, date, and time. So let's see what else we have. Venus, Sun. So they're 2 degrees away from each other. And that means that there is a light being shown on women, and that's in the spotlight. So not only just in the collective, in the public eye, but also in relationships and in partnerships, in potential diplomacy matters, in social work situations. Beauty brands are doing really well. Or again, it's interesting. I was reading today about how Kim Kardashian promoted cryptocurrency. Now, remember, Saturn in Aquarius is crypto. That's been squaring Uranus and the North Node. So, Uranus North Node square Saturn in Aquarius means crypto is being taken to task for stability. And is it something that we're really going to be able to use as a true currency in the future? Which it is. It absolutely is where we're heading, with Pluto meaning value and joint finances in Aquarius. Absolutely, crypto is going to be very strong in the future and go through the back and forth of Pluto, direct Pluto retrograde. So it isn't for the faint of heart. It is going to be a very strong, intense energy with Pluto and Aquarius. But Uranus in Taurus squaring Saturn in Aquarius has been showing us the crypto storyline. And Kim Kardashian apparently took money to advertise a cryptocurrency, which was, I think, Ethereum. And I don't know, I've mentioned that in the past. I've done charts for a lot of the cryptocurrencies, especially the main one. I'm pretty sure Ethereum has some type of Gemini energy, which is why it's also in the news right now, because of Mars Moon and the grand trine with that energy. It was one that I purposely avoided because I knew of the duality and the duplicity of that energy. And sure enough, it's in the news right now because Kim Kardashian promoted that particular crypto brand and then invested in it and took advantage of it. So the SEC looks down on that it's kind of like insider trading type of energy. So she paid $250,000. Well, she got a profit of $250,000, but her fine is over $1 million. So she did not come out ahead on that one. But of course, as we all know, she can quite afford that amount of money. But because she is also in the spotlight for her beauty, she gets her fame through the physical, through a certain amount of sexual energy, which is Mars, her crypto energy, Uranus, Saturn, and then Venus, Sun conjunct in Libra. She was just talking, sadly, I read the article. I tend to avoid anything about her, but it talked about her and Pete Davidson. I'm not going to tell you what it said. You can research it, but I'm just like, ew, TMI. And that's usually the case with most of her stuff, is way too much TMI. But she's in the news about these energies and these different themes. And so her chart obviously is lit up with Saturn in Aquarius, Mars in Gemini, and Venus, Sun in Libra. I can also tell you, I think she's a Pisces. I vaguely remember looking at her chart and realizing that she had similarities to Elizabeth Taylor, who had been married 7 times. Last I looked, I know she's gone now, but I think it was 7 times she got married. And she had strong Pisces in her house of marriage, and I believe she was a Pisces. So, yeah, Kim Kardashian, I know, shares some Pisces energy with her somewhere in her chart. Anyway, enough of that. With the Grand Trine, it is air, it is understanding and awareness, analysis, it is connection to other people and cooperation or not cooperation. And it is about adjustment of our ideas and our awareness of something. Hey, this is Shelley. I wanted to give you a heads up that there are a lot of new art prints at shelleyoverton.com. So go over there and check them out. SHELLEYOVERTON.com. Thanks.
Shimmy, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah. Give me the mic so I can take it away. Up on a natural charge, bon voyage. Yeah, from the home of the Dodger Brooklyn squad. 10 killer bees on the swarm. Rain on your dollar ass disco dome. You didn't even touch my skill. Gotta have one killer bee and he ain't gonna kill him. Jot that down, pass it all around. Lyrics get out of quick cement to the ground. Any MC and then your 52 states. I get psycho killer. Norman Bates. I produce a slam. I was like, damn, jump on stage.
Where we are seeing, let's just go through some of the signs though, anyway, as long as I'm here, and give you an idea of what you're going to experience. So Aries has Jupiter and Chiron in their sector right now. So you're dealing with male wounding, whether you are a male, or have someone in your life, which we all know some men. That's where the friction is for you. And then Jupiter retrograde, it is frustrating you. So wherever your Aries energy is, you're being frustrated very highly and possibly even hurt, emotionally deeply hurt through self-centeredness, which is what Aries can be really strong in, because they are the energy of expressing new brand, new energy into the world. And it is very self-centered, coming in birth energy. So that's kind of part of that storyline. There's an opposition to Venus and the Sun and Mercury. So that storyline, of course, is going to be ruled by Venus and the Venusian storyline, which is about women. So right now it's kind of men versus women. Receptivity in opposition to the drive to get things done, which is not going well. And then the trine to Mars right now for Libra. And it's actually a sextile energy for Aries. So even though Mars is the ruling planet of Aries, it is about to go retrograde. So we're entering the shadow period. And so it is also going to be a little more frustrating there as well. So Jupiter retrograde in Aries is going to mean that what we thought would turn out physically and through our actions is not actually happening through the actions we take. And Mars in Gemini retrograde is about our words. And so we've got our words and our actions being taken to task right now. But because Jupiter is in a sextile by sign to Mars and the moon, we are seeing an altering or an adjustment energy, which will ultimately benefit us. And we may not see the benefit until the early part of the new year, but it will ultimately come back to us and benefit us. So look for that in early next year of new endeavors coming back and new endeavors coming in the new year, and they will be more beneficial to us. And right now we're having to go back over whether or not we made the right actions and words and decisions in recent months since Jupiter retrograded in August and when Mars retrogrades here at the end of this month. Mercury in Libra, again, communications, wanting to communicate. Mercury is just newly back in Libra at the end degrees of Virgo, and this is the area. I think he's still in shadow for like another week, and he will be out when he exits the shadow. Communications will get better, and we may actually hear back from someone who was quiet for a while. Yeah, the shadow ends actually around the 17th at 8 degrees of Mercury in Libra. So that's just in a few short days. So chances are you're going to hear back from that person who has been MIA or ghosting you. And I have someone who has done that. So we'll see how that goes. In Libra, it's about marriage and partnership. It's about people we are cooperating with and or wanted to cooperate with and have communications with. So there will be some energy coming in. I don't think it's going to take real long, but worst case scenario would be, say, 2 more weeks when Mercury hits the degree that Venus is in right now. I don't think it's going to, I honestly don't think they can stay quiet that long. So it's going to be coming in here fairly soon. Let's see. And that pretty much, okay, so that's Aries, Libra, and Gemini. Taurus has Uranus North Node, again, 13 and 17 degrees respectively. Actually reversed. So North Node, Uranus, 13 and 17 respectively. And so there is also a trine between those energies and the Venus Sun conjunction. So that's also going to be more awareness and enlightened energy. I will say when Mercury gets to that later degree, so 2 weeks from now, it is going to be in trine to Uranus and the North Node. So there will be information coming out, like I said, at the very latest in a couple weeks. But over the course of the next 2 weeks, it will be building. It will be harder and harder not to connect and cooperate, not only because it's Mercury, which is the messenger god, the communications planet, but because it's Libra, which wants diplomacy and balance. And it's in the air energy, which is awareness of different information and understanding. So information wants to be imparted. And so, Taurus energy, that area of your chart falls in the energy of the 6th house. So if there's been some news you've been waiting on, the next couple of weeks, it should be coming out. And let's see, we talked about Gemini. Gemini's been dealing with Mars and the moon, and Mars in general is in trine to, actually in conjunct, my bad, in conjunct to Pluto. So that's still the frustrating energy of having to answer to what you've said, and the truth is coming out. Pluto in Capricorn is not going to suffer fools and doesn't like lies, doesn't like untruths, and will seek out what is accurate and literal. And Mars is within 3 degrees of an exact inconjunct to Pluto. And so Pluto is legalities, and this is the energy that is bringing around legal issues through actions or spoken words. When Mars retrogrades, there's a chance, like I said, to right the wrong, alter the situation, or get a different point of view and perspective of understanding. So look for that. Gemini, that's what you're dealing with. Cancer, most of Cancer's difficulty right now deals with the Aries energy, the Libra energy, and the Capricorn energy. So the culmination of filling out the final 4 corners of the cardinal cross. And so that would be, like I said, Aries, Libra, Capricorn, Cancer. And Jupiter is higher awareness, higher understanding, spirituality, and growth. Also, it can be sports or athleticism, or being physical or in nature, competition, competitiveness. Pluto in Capricorn for a quarter, that is going to affect your career and your values, and whether or not you're taking too much ownership or where you need to put your energies. The Libra aspect, this is for Cancer again, the Libra side is going to be your marriage and partnership, and whether or not you are getting your needs met, your desires met with Venus energy in marriage, and then Mercury having the need to discuss it and really waiting for that discussion to happen. Leo, the things, you don't have any planets in your sign right now, but Moon will be there early to mid next week. Let's just look that up real quick, because I'm not going to go day to day for next week because I'm giving so much other information. Yeah, Moon goes into Leo at 12:45 a.m. on the 18th, which is Tuesday, which means the weekend is going to be a Gemini Cancer weekend. So a lot of pulling up with the family, dealing with family issues and mom issues and domesticity on Sunday, Monday, half of Saturday. And then we're going to be dealing with children and creativity, taking risks and leadership come Tuesday, Wednesday, and into Thursday. Friday is going to be Virgo energy. So back to work, and also school energy and teachers and parenting. So Leo, really, you're going to be dealing with the moon over the weekend. So it's going to be more fun, social, creative. And your harder energies are, and I think everybody's harder energy is Pluto right now. But if you're a late degree Leo into Virgo, it's going to be a direct hit with Pluto continuing until next year, until March. And then it moves into Aquarius. But that'll be your opposite sign. So Leo's probably going to be hit for another, 20 years. They're going to be really growing, really expanding, and really getting an awareness of the opposite energy with the Aquarius, because we've had Saturn, the Leo people have had Saturn, and in the Aquarius energy opposing your sun for a couple years, and then it's going to be Pluto. So I'd like to say it's wonderful, happy energy. It is actually going to have some, because it's lighter, removed from the intensity of the fire sign, but fans fire. So the planets going through the opposite air energy are going to fan the flames, and you're going to have to understand the Aquarian energy much more than you have. And then the fire energy of Jupiter and Chiron are also affecting you. You're learning a new spiritual path and maybe questioning your spiritual path. Virgos, you're kind of lucky right now because the Mercury energy is out of your sign, and it's moving on. You don't have any transiting planets for a while, to at least next week with the moon. And there is an opposition of Neptune to your sign, but really Mars squaring the late degree Virgos who are born, right before let me see, late September, the 21st timeline. The fall babies, they're going to be feeling this energy more with the Mars energy in Gemini. And so just know that that's squaring your sun sign. And so you're going to probably have more friction around neighbors, siblings, and teacher or work environments. Libra, we've discussed, it's the Venus Mercury Sun energy opposite Aries. You've got some trine energy in the grand trine. We've discussed all that early. Scorpio, you're ruled by Pluto. Pluto's in Capricorn. Scorpions are actually doing pretty well right now. Opposing energy of Uranus is bringing in money opportunities. Uranus does go direct in the next month, so you're going to see things loosen up with your entrepreneurial life. And then you have a sextile to Pluto, and so that's a really positive building energy. I've got Scorpio planets. I'm doing really well right now. So I think Scorpio might be one of the only signs actually embracing the energies right now. Sagittarius, your ruling planet, Jupiter retrograde in Aries, going into Pisces, which squares Sagittarius. So you're really going through a major spiritual awakening and spiritual challenge in your life. And it may be your actions are not bringing you fulfillment anymore. And so you're seeking higher understanding of why that might be. And that might be new for you. You might not be one of these types that really feel like there is anything out there, but the Pisces energy and the Jupiter coming back into conjunction with Neptune is definitely going to continue to awaken you. And this is probably also true for people of foreign descent. There's going to be a shift of consciousness, and that's only because Sagittarius rules foreigners and foreign culture. Capricorns, wrapping things up for you with that Pluto energy in the next 6 months. So that's really good. You've got the grand trine energy with Uranus and then Venus Sun. So it's going to be more about the stability of your own life, dealing with women, dealing with maybe the restriction around new ideas associated with money and love. And then Aquarius, we've talked about the new energy coming in with Pluto, and Saturn's been in your sign. So you've still got about that 6 months left of Saturn transiting. It's going direct in the next week. That'll loosen things up for career. That includes entrepreneurial endeavors, and that's your path. Aquarius rules alternate, and Saturn is career, so alternate careers. And then Saturn moves into Pisces next year, which is your second house of money and dreams. And that's going to seem more dreamy, more receptive, feminine. But you are going to be making dreams come true and owning those dreams. It's going to be my Saturn, which is 0 degrees Pisces. And that's going to really make you stand up and take ownership of all the Piscean energy. So for our Pisces friends, it's going to be much more restrictive around getting your ideas and your intuitive nature on board with what's going on with the collective and grounding the energy in. So I think collectively we are going into a time of Pisces energy for the next couple of years. And that means we're going to be more open to the past, to historical things, to vintage things, to genealogy, photography, videography, film, Hollywood. Hollywood's going to be getting probably some comeuppance in the next couple of years. They're going to be more restrictive around what goes on in the entertainment industry. I think LA is probably going to feel this energy tremendously. Virgo will feel this energy in that Virgo is very analytical and very grounded. And so Saturn is grounded, and it will have to integrate some of the woo-woo, as they say, and some of the type of ethereal energy that doesn't necessarily seem comfortable for the analytical, intellectualized Virgo energy, but that's what you have to really expand on in your world. Okay, I think that's pretty much it for this week. Let me see if there's anything I really want to address. This week, we don't really have a lot of shifts and changes other than the moon. And we have a lot of aspecting energy, which I've already touched on. Some good sextiles on Thursday. We've got Moon in Leo, sextile to Mars in Gemini, sextile to Venus in Libra, and also sextile to the Sun. And so that's going to be men, women, and ego issues coming together, cooperative, and trying to understand each other more so than they are this week. So with that being said, I hope you all enjoy your evening, your weekend. Be nice to each other, and we'll see you again next week. Take care. Is it in blah, blah, blah. Brain.
To purchase my ebook, Learn Astrology, you can find it at angeliczodiac.com. Hi, this is Shelley. Thank you for joining us this week. To contact me for a private reading, go to angeliczodiac.com under the Readings tab. Background music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. Be sure to check back next week and subscribe through iTunes at AstroEnergy Astrology Show.